program is brought to you by Strategies for Wealth Management.
Everywhere you look nowadays, there are top 10 lists everywhere, online and magazines. Well, today we thought it'd be a fun idea to bring you top 10 lists when it comes to retirement planning. Hi, welcome to Smart Retirement. My name is Laura, and I'm joined with my husband, Michael.
Welcome, everyone.
And this is a good one.
Yeah, this is going to be fun.
It's important to talk financial. That's always important.
Yeah.
But today, you and I thought let's talk some lists of things that would be helpful outside of the financial when it comes to planning your retirement.
And you know what this has to do with? A few episodes ago, we talked about your retirement vision. What do you want your life to look like in retirement?
Yes.
And this has very much to do with your retirement vision and maybe taking a look at things a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Because retirement is not the end, it's the beginning.
I love
It's
that.
an opportunity to do the things you always wanted to do without worrying about a 9-to-5 job.
Exactly. And as I always say, planning is overwhelming. It can be intimidating. It can be daunting. What I like about lists and what people have said about lists is there's a couple of things that are good about having things in a list, right? One, it's so time efficient. To spend your time searching online and trying to weed out things you like and you don't like, it could take forever. So when you have a list,
Right.
it's just right there, right? So that's one thing I like about a list. I also like that lists make it easy to understand and comprehend and digest the information, right? When you see a list nicely laid out in front of you. Why do you like lists? Any reason?
I like lists because it gives you new ideas sometimes. Like if you ask me to do a list, I'm going to do it. And if you do a list, you're going to do it. And if we compare notes, we may have different things on our list
That is
and
so
help
true.
each other with ideas.
Yeah, so it really is an opportunity to open up
Yeah.
and see what other people might thought, things you may not have thought. So definitely some of the things on the list that we have today are that, right? Like
Yeah.
I never thought. So, okay, let's start off with our first list. And I think this is really important and there's a good reason why. But right now, this is the top 10 jobs for retirees.
So why would a retiree want a job?
Yeah, well, there's many reasons. But I'm going to say one, it keeps your brain active and you don't turn to jello and mush.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Also, it keeps you social on the level.
Yeah,
Like
totally.
you get out there, you meet people, you meet coworkers, keeps your creativity. What were you thinking? What are some reasons?
Well, definitely those two. Plus, it gives you a little extra spending money.
He's always thinking about the money, everyone. But that's true.
Nothing wrong with that,
Well, and we always say, like, sometimes you have a number in your head, like, I want to retire when I'm this age. But guess what? The company you worked for says, nope, you're going to retire before that age. And people don't ever think that.
There's this article I read just last week that said if you ask people the age they want to retire, average is 65.
Yeah.
But if you actually look at the true retirement age, it's 62. Why? A lot of people get laid off before they ever, their plan is I'm going to retire at 65, and then all of a sudden the company comes to them and says, we don't need you anymore, or a health issue happens. And there's a lot of reasons why sometimes your plans don't go according to plan.
Exactly.
Right? So this list is also going to help you if you're one of those situations that we see where someone may be let go or has to leave their job they've been doing for 20, 30 years. Maybe this list can help you too.
And this happened to two of our clients last week.
Last
So
week.
it's not unusual.
Nope.
It happens more. All right. So the first thing, and I think this is a really smart thing, become a freelance consultant in the job that you were doing, which I know some clients have done that actually.
This exactly happened last week.
It did?
One of our clients, he spent 30 years in an industry that's a very specialized industry, right? And so he was let go earlier than he thought. And I was talking with him, and I said, and he said, I'm thinking about becoming a consultant. So freelance consultant is a way you take your expertise, the years of expertise you have, and offer it out to the public or to the industry as a freelance consultant. The benefit of that is it's part-time. You can work as hard as little as you want.
Right.
We have one client, I know a lot of our clients are very successful doing this.
No, I think it's a great idea and I love it. And I think it's like, you've worked so hard, now it's time to have some more of your own time, and still have this expertise that can be valuable to people out there. So I think it's a great...
Right. By the way, companies love it too, because they don't have to put you on as a payroll. It's just a consultant. It helps companies in some ways.
That's a really good win-win.
Yeah.
Okay, this is one. Didn't think of it, but it's a good one.
Yeah.
Do you want to share it?
Yeah, dog walker.
Yeah.
Remember, this is a top 10 list, right?
Right, yeah.
So dog walker, think about it. Look, not very stressful. You're enjoying animals. You love animals anyhow. Why not offer your services and spend time with animals, make a little money, and help some people?
No, I think this is really a brilliant idea, especially if you're someone who likes outdoors, you love animals. Maybe you don't want to get your own animal because of your current lifestyle. And yet you can still enjoy the friendliness and the love of other animals. I think it's a great idea.
It's like a triple play. You get a little exercise, you enjoy time with animals, and you make a little money.
Yeah, always thinking of the money. This one, okay, look, this one, I couldn't believe it was on our list.
Yeah, but this one's, I don't know how I feel about this one, but okay.
Yeah, become a tax preparer. I guess there are people out there who like doing this type of thing, and it's seasonal.
It is seasonal, especially for basic tax returns.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be my first go-to choice after retire, but I think it's interesting, another way to use your expertise and limited time. Like, you know, it's only going to last a certain time, and you can probably charge a nice little bit of money there to help people with their taxes. So I think that was brilliant.
Yeah, definitely people need help with it, and it could be a good little side gig.
Okay, let's go back and forth. You show the next one.
All right. Substitute teacher.
Yeah.
By the way, well, we know this, but our last name, Lehrhaupt, means head teacher.
It does.
And that's what we do, teach.
We try. Yeah. Yes, we do. No, substitute teaching is an interesting option too. And I have a client, she worked at a school in Connecticut for 30 years.
Yeah.
Then one day she's going to retire, but how hard is it to leave the kids? She thought, I can't leave these kids, right? It's like so upset. So she started doing part-time. She still works 5 days a week in the morning though, and then she goes home and has the rest of the day to herself.
That's awesome.
I know. It's a win-win. So maybe it's not substitute teaching, but it's still a version of what she used to do.
I look at it a little differently. I look at give back to society. Like you've had a career, you have a lot of knowledge, and we know the school system sometimes is suffering. And why not, spend time helping the younger generation and teach them some of the skills that you have. So it's a way to give back. And substitute means not full time. It's part-time.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure you have to be a teacher to be a substitute teacher.
I don't know.
I don't know. But it's something to look into. If this floats your boat and you love teaching, you might want to look into that.
Definitely.
That's another one. All right. I'm going to go with freelance writer.
Huh.
There are a lot of very clever, creative people out there, and they've never had the time. I don't know about you. I've written a couple of books. Michael and I've written a couple of. It takes a lot of time to write a book. And in retirement, that's what you've got.
It's a very meditative process. But I will tell you, I was at an event years ago, and someone made this comment. The person running the event was, everybody's got at least one good book in them.
Ooh, I like that.
Everyone's got one good book in them. Yeah. So if you think, and what I vision is, you go somewhere, it's very peaceful and quiet, right? And with a cup of coffee or a glass of wine, you're writing and you create this book. And nowadays, with all the technology, you could publish your own book. You don't even need a publisher. That is out the window.
Yeah, and I also think it's really interesting because nowadays, if you don't like to actually write or type, just talk it. Yeah. You can talk it into your phone. And it can write it for you. So it really is, there's a whole lot available out there.
Well, I think about your grandmother. Your grandmother was a very successful business person.
She was.
Had a very successful company.
Yeah.
And she put a book together. And, it was something, it wasn't a bestseller, but it was very therapeutic for her.
Don't tell her that. May she rest in peace.
May she rest in peace. It was very therapeutic for her.
It was therapeutic.
And it was an interesting
book.
And
it was nice for the family. But I don't know if every book has to be a biography. It could be a fantasy, fan fiction type of version of something. Yeah. So many good. All right. Go for it. You go next.
Event planner.
Yeah. So event planner is something that I think if you've been planning events your whole life, meaning birthdays and weddings and, parties, maybe you take that skill and you bring it to, the marketplace and you try to plan events for people.
Definitely. There's so many opportunities in that. I mean, people are really, really busy and they need help delegating that stuff. We live busy lifestyles and, whether it's a kid's birthday or wedding or any other celebration.
What I love about this idea is it's a happy thing and you get to celebrate with the people who are celebrating. You know what I mean? Because people do have that thing about retirement being the end when we're always like, it's the beginning.
It's the beginning.
And what a great opportunity to enjoy someone else's success or celebration is to become an event planner.
And I know it's not on the list, but I want to throw one thing out there. Because throughout your career, you meet people who always had an impact on you.
Yeah.
I remember, now I'm 57 right now.
Yeah.
Right? 57, not 58.
Yes, you are, honey.
Okay. But when I started in this business years and years ago, in my 20s, when we first met,
Yeah.
I was working doing more Medicare programs and helping people with Medicare. And I remember this one older gentleman, his first name was Ike. He's since passed away, but his first name was like, he talked like this and everything, right?
I kind of remember him.
He actually started a second career selling Medicare supplements. His first career,
Yeah.
he worked for a prison. That was his first career,
Love
he
it.
worked for a prison.
Yeah.
His second career in retirement was selling Medicare supplements.
Nice.
He went out, he met people, he was so social, he loved it. His wife was telling me he made more money in his second career than he ever made in his first career, and he enjoyed it so much. He's one of the top people every month, best personality. He just enjoyed life, but he enjoyed meeting people. See, you never know what life will bring you.
Yeah, that's why it's good to, think about this now before, rather than when you're confronted. Maybe plan it out a little bit.
Yeah.
Think about it. This is interesting.
Tour guide.
Yeah.
Right.
And I have been, you and I, we've gone to some really great museums and old houses. Come to think of it, a lot of the tour guides are,
are.
of the more mature persuasion. And I think that's a great thing too, because you're, educating in a way people and meeting people from all over the world a lot of times. I know we went to Rhode Island and went to those mansions.
Yeah.
And we definitely had some more older, more mature tour guides help walking us around, and it was so great.
I kind of remember Italy, Venice, we hired a tour guide, and it was like
were
that.
older,
He was
yeah.
retired, and he was like, I want to live in Italy. It was a way for him to live overseas
Such a
and make some
smart
money.
idea.
right?
There were some people like that.
Yeah.
That is a great thing. You can get to do two things at once.
Yeah,
Be a
it's
tour
awesome.
guide and maybe live abroad if that's something you want to do. This is interesting. Life coach.
Yeah.
If you haven't lived life by the time you retire, I don't know when you're going to live life.
Boy, the older we get, the more we're supposed to get wiser the older we get. But if you think about all the experiences and things you went through in life, maybe there's similar people who can use your guidance. And that's
Yeah.
called a life coach. And there are a lot of different programs that I guess certify you
Yes,
on
there
this.
are. Yes.
But I think agent experience is the most important thing about being a life coach. I see sometimes a lot of younger people trying to be life coaches, and sometimes I look and say, well, what do they know about life? They haven't experienced this stuff.
That's a good
But if
point.
you've got a lot of experience, you become certified, it could be a nice little side gig.
A little side gig.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's an interesting thing. This is a caterer. So if you're somebody who enjoys cooking or planning people's meals,
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
No, you're not. I like cooking. I don't know if
do.
I want to cook for like a lot of people, but there are people. Now, this may be a little off of the caterer, but it's in the same thing. We have a client. I don't know if you're aware of this client. She ended up making dog treats.
Oh, wow.
And so she's not really a caterer, but she took her baking for animals and she made it into a business. And now, she's just doing really, really well. She brought a whole bunch of goodies. Not for us, honey, though. It's for the animals that come visit us.
That might taste good.
But I think that's a really clever thing to do. It's something that you always like to do, making it into a business and creating something new for yourself.
Like if someone always raved about something you've made, whether it's sweets, cookies, cupcakes, food, whatever, maybe turn it into a business. See, the idea of this episode is get creative.
Get creative and think bigger. Think bigger than the life
Right.
you've been living, yeah? This is really good. You want to share this one? I think this
Translator,
is... Yeah.
right?
Yeah, if you're bilingual.
Yeah,
and
if
you
you're
know
bilingual,
more than
yeah.
one language. It's a great, I'll tell you something, the world has gotten smaller in terms of we are so able to connect with people from all different places around the world.
There's time for time. We probably have use for a translator.
We probably
we
do.
get a call from someone, maybe doesn't speak the
Yeah.
language we speak. And
Yeah.
could use a translator.
Definitely, yeah.
So
That's a great thing. My niece speaks Spanish because my sister-in-law's from Mexico.
Right.
I don't think she's a translator, but
No.
she certainly has helped us out when we went to Mexico. We definitely called her a few times. Remember?
Yeah.
We were
Oh,
in
yeah,
Mexico.
definitely, yeah.
I was like, Daniela,
how do you say this? How do you say that?
can I share what you were looking for? He was looking for. I'm
forgot.
sharing.
Okay.
He was looking for antacid.
Oh, yeah. I had heartburn.
Like Tums. And
nobody knew what it was called.
we
I was
couldn't
like, come
speak
on,
the language,
really?
so I called my sister-in-law who I was from Mexico, and she told us, and she
Like,
directed.
where do I buy Tums? I'm such an American when I go overseas.
A little bit, huh? But
With that
that's
said,
okay.
look, this is a top
It's a
10.
good thing.
This is a top 10 list. There's many, many different options out there. And we want you guys to start thinking, hey, if you don't want to sit at home doing nothing, retirement doesn't mean that anymore. It's not the end, it's the beginning. And the world is a huge opportunity of places that you can actually look at and create, and you own your own destiny. So look at it a little differently.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with sitting home and doing nothing.
No.
That being said, If you don't want to do nothing, this is a great opportunity to start thinking about future ideas.
I remember growing up, my grandmother who lived in Florida.
Yeah.
I think, I was having a little trouble in school. It was like public education.
Yeah.
And she felt so bad because she was in Florida, she couldn't do anything. She went to volunteer for school system in Florida because she couldn't help me. So she volunteered in Florida
that's
for that.
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my grandma Lehrhaupt.
Yeah, and I know your mom is currently volunteering with cats.
My mom's currently
Because
volunteering.
she doesn't want to have a cat,
Right.
but she loves animals, and
Definitely,
her and her
yeah.
boyfriend found a place.
Yeah.
Okay, we are
Right.
on to the second list, which is a version of the first. Not really. I mean, I think it's really important to have a hobby.
Yeah.
When you retire, and maybe even a little before you retire. But there's nothing wrong with getting one in retirement. Fortunate for us, you and I have a hobby.
We do.
I have a couple of hobbies.
We do.
You want to share with everybody our hobby?
Yeah, I think it's important to have a hobby long before you think you're going to retire.
that's what I
because
was
you
saying.
don't work for years and years and years and quit and go, now what? You want to start the hobbies long before. But
True.
our hobby is music.
Yeah.
We love music. Laura is an amazing vocalist.
Well, thanks,
I play guitar, I play drums, I sing, not as well as my wife, but it's all for fun.
It's fun.
And, we sometimes have been in bands. We do something called School of Rock. We love doing it. It's kind of feeds our soul.
Yeah. So these are hobbies that people might not have thought of. Maybe they're already doing them. I know this. The first one is
Sometimes you could turn a hobby into an income.
Well, we were going
but
to talk about that. Yeah, the first one's huge. I mean, I know a lot of our
Yeah,
clients
big time.
do this. I have to say, this is not my forte. I've always wanted to be a gardener, but I
Right.
am not a gardener. But gardening seems to be
Huge.
really huge. And, I have to share, my biological father lives in Las Vegas, Nevada. He has a garden in the desert. He grows everything.
Yeah.
And yet I didn't get that. Like, I do not have a green thumb and I can't grow anything. He loves it. He nurtures it. And people who garden are so passionate about it.
They are.
And I've always been somewhat envious of the people that can really grow things. Because to me, that's like so amazing to be able
Yeah.
to grow your own food. And if not now, when?
I like to eat the food that's grown, but I don't like growing
absolutely
it. But that's okay.
will eat the food that's grown.
Yeah.
But I think that's great, and it's very popular.
Which is the next thing. Once you grow the food, what do you do with it?
Yeah.
You cook it. So
Cooking.
cooking is a hobby.
It is.
Big time hobby.
It is. And I think, again, it's something that a lot of people in real life don't have time for because we're rushing around to job,
Sure.
to this, to that. And maybe you have a little bit more downtime and a little more opportunity to explore. I got into cooking when I got into more health-related stuff because it's always great to cook your own meals and spices and, learning how to spice your own foods with all the amazing different tastes that are available in the world. So cooking is a great hobby, and I know that's really popular also.
Very popular.
Yeah.
Like I said, I like to eat the cooking. That's a hobby too.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
How about the next one?
Yeah, running a business. This is not surprising because, like you just shared, you have a client who is now doing, Ike was
yeah.
working, but
yeah.
but the lady I had with the dog cookies, she's now running a business.
Yeah.
Her own dog, and we do have clients that, like, were one completely different. We had another client. They do security, cybersecurity.
Oh, cybersecurity. Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah, so you might have done completely different in your regular real job, but then you retire and you get this other thing.
Let's say you've been in one industry for years and years and years, but you're done with the industry. It's not really about making a fortune right now, but it's
Right.
about, hey, I've always wanted to run a business, and you buy a business and run it. Maybe it makes some money for you, but it's not so much about the money. It's about enjoying the business.
Yes. Yeah, that's important too, to continue enjoying what you do
Yeah.
when you are done and ready to retire and moving on to another
That's
thing
funny.
in
I
your life.
told you last night when we were watching TV, I said, I always wanted to own a movie theater. When I was growing up, I was like, I always wanted to. Now movie theaters, I don't know how successful they are today,
Yeah.
but like, or an ice cream shop. Did you want, or a coffee shop, that kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, for sure. It's a great opportunity to
Yeah.
do something you've always wanted to do. Well, this is a good one.
This is a good one for any age at any point in life.
Yeah, hiking.
Hiking.
I saw a lady today when we were working out at the gym. She had her hiking poles in the parking lot.
Okay.
It's still hiking, people.
Yeah.
You can hike in a parking lot, but it's moving and hiking. I think this is referring to more of in the woods. Like
Yeah,
hiking in
maybe.
the woods, but whatever works. I mean, she had her poles and her boots on and everything.
But in Florida, you know how they hike in Florida?
What's the hike in Florida?
They go to the mall very early in the morning and they hike around the
That's
mall.
so true.
Yeah.
Inside.
Because it's too hot outside.
That's true.
Yeah. We call them mall walkers.
Mall walker. I think that could be
Mall
another
walkers,
hobby,
yeah.
different from hiking. I think we're supposed to be
It's
outside.
true, right?
I think we're supposed to, but it is a good thing, and I love hiking. And
Yeah.
I just said to you yesterday we have to put
Go
a hike on
hiking,
on the schedule for sure. Okay, this is your favorite, honey, coming up. Share with us.
Crafting.
You hate
I'm
that.
not very crafty.
Yeah,
But I
am.
can respect people who are.
Yeah.
And crafting,
I just love it. I think it's just so fun to create something from nothing. It's meditative, and I know a lot of viewers out there probably totally understand what I'm talking about. And then there are the people like you who would rather get your teeth cleaned because but it is so good. And again, if you're crafty enough, maybe you sell your crafts, which
definitely.
I have seen.
We have clients who did that.
Yes, craft shows. They're selling their jewelry. They're selling their art.
So these lists go hand in hand, the one we did before.
Yeah, it really
because, like,
does.
if you're crafty and you want to sell it, there's a million festivals and art shows. You could set up a booth and sell it. What a great, spend a weekend hanging out at a festival.
Or you
and
could
having
do,
a booth.
there are certain, I
Or
won't say-
online.
That's right. There are certain crafting websites where you can, there's some beautiful things on those websites.
It's amazing how the world has changed today, and because the world has changed,
and
it's just so amazing.
It affects our
opportunity.
retirement because we can touch people from all over the world by selling our crafts
totally.
online, and it really is amazing. Okay, this one I'm not so fond of because I just, well, truly, I've never really tried it.
I never
So
really
guess-
tried it, but maybe we will one day.
Yeah,
But
I know it's fun.
golfing. Look, golf is very popular. People love to be out on the course. What a beautiful way to play. But, oftentimes golf takes a long time. So while you're working, it's hard to find time. But in retirement, my mom was in a place called The Villages, and their advertisement is free golf for the rest of your life.
Right.
That's what they advertise.
Right.
Now it's going to be free pickleball for the rest of your life, but free golfing for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Because golf, people love it.
They do.
And it's a great sport to pick up.
I think it's a whole bunch of things like you're leisurely and yet you're competitive all in the same moment. You're like hanging out with your friends, but then when it's your turn, at least from what I've watched, I've never done it myself. And this goes back to about freelance writing. This says writing and
we talked about that last list too. Writing.
Writing.
Again, this world's a huge opportunity. What did you always want to write about? Online, man, you can get a ton of followers. It's amazing. Sometimes things go viral. Never know.
Yeah,
right?
You never know. Blogging is sort of under the same category, blogging or vlogging, which is a video commentary, a video excerpt from something you want to share is really big. And I know that there have been a lot of people going viral on that.
You know what they should add to this too is kind of writing, blogging, and podcasting.
That's another, podcasting is really great too. Recording yourself and making almost like a radio show from back in the day.
Again, because of technology, it puts everyone on an even playing field. You're in an even playing field with a lot of big companies. Like, there are podcasts you can do, and if you don't know about it, take a course in it. There's a million places to learn right now. Take a course on podcasting, because you get a good podcast. Like, we were just watching, all these different podcasts that you could talk about anything you want, and believe it or not, who would listen to that? People would listen.
People would listen. People drive, they listen. This is very popular, and it's rewarding to be able to share with other people.
Yeah.
And if you tend to want to do video is another really powerful medium. It's all accessible nowadays.
It is.
It's just everything's out there for us.
A lot of it revolves around technology. So don't be afraid of technology because you can learn it. Look, I have a saying, it's progress, not perfection. You're not going to pick it all up in one day, but little by little, if you start to learn these things, before you know it, you're like, oh, I could do this. Not as hard as you think it is.
Yeah, I love that. It isn't as hard as you think it is. Okay, well, this one is something that I agree with. I have a hard time doing because of, our hectic schedule. Reading. I mean, I have friends who are like great. They belong to 4 book clubs, and this is like but our son-in-law does audiobooks, which I feel like could fit under there too. And yet, when you're in your regular work mode, it's hard to set time for some people. There are people who
So I remember my grandfather.
Yeah.
He read so many books. Remember that?
He used to say, how are you doing, Grandpa? Oh, I read 9 books this week. And I would be like, you read 9 books?
Yeah.
He loved that.
I mean, he was in his
90.
He was in
90
80s, I have to say.
But
He almost lived to 90, right? But he was in his 80s, and he was like a sponge, just absorbing all these
read
books.
enough.
Just unbelievable.
Was he always a reader?
No, he was not. He really became one later on in life.
So good to read. Yeah, that is a good thing. And I always want to do more of it. And it's something that people can do more of a lot of times in their retirement. Okay, the last one, which is a little bit like what I was saying about crafting, which is painting. So I don't mean painting a house.
Oh, that could be something.
You could do that too.
Yeah.
This is using your artistic ability. And we have a client who, she's not so much painting, but she did stained glass. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
And she was a doctor.
Yep. And she did stained glass. We have a piece from her.
She was in a show and everything,
Yeah.
and we have a piece from her. And there's so many talented people, but life can stop you sometimes from doing the things that you really want. And sometimes, I don't know about you, when you get busy, your creativity kind of goes.
That's
it's
true.
like it's so hard, like the stress.
Or if you don't use it, you lose it.
This is true too. You lose it.
Like my other grandmother, on my mom's side, my grandfather's wife, my grandmother, she painted, but again, it wasn't something she
We
took.
have some pictures.
But she did all her life. This is my point. If you're going to develop a hobby, start now, before in retirement. It's
Yeah.
okay to start in retirement too, but
Yeah.
like I always find you want to do things, life is short. Do it now. Start now, right?
Yeah.
I'm also disappointed that music's not on here because I think there's so many people who love playing guitar. Like people pick up, I've always wanted to learn piano or guitar. So I really think I'm changing this list. I'm putting music as one of the
just
top
make it
10.
the 11. This is the top 11.
We go to
list of
11.
hobbies. I do. I've seen you get really, you've always been great at guitar, but definitely, I know it's always been in your life since, 15?
Yeah, I've been playing guitar since 15, but what about the drums?
You just started the drums.
Just started a year and a half ago.
See, that's the thing. There's always time if you want to do something, right? Like
There's
you can
always
always
time.
make time for something you really, really want to do.
yeah.
And I think that's the point is, whether it's in retirement or before retirement or you're younger, it's really important to take some time and do things that you love to do. It's just good for you. It feels so good to create, whatever that is.
So when we're putting this and preparing for the show, we wanted
Yeah.
to put something interesting in, which is a top 10 list. If you like this, tell us you like it, and we can actually create more top 10 lists and
Yeah.
look for more content for top 10
Well, we
lists.
have a bonus list that we're going to put on
sorry.
the landing page.
Okay, go ahead.
So we're going to put this bonus list up on the landing page for you. Just scan the QR and we'll send you over there. And I think that's it. Yeah, I think we've
good.
hit some of our favorite top 10 from these two categories. But if you have anything to add, like Michael said, please let us know. Other than that, it's been so great sharing with you today. Remember, our goal is to help you have a smart retirement, an enjoyable retirement, and something you can really have for the rest of your life. Have a great day. The preceding program was brought to you by Strategies for Wealth Management.
I'm your host, Kurt Barwis. Today, I have a very special guest, Dr. Andrew Lin.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Veterans Corner. My name's Chuck Wooden.
Decision for ourselves for this week if we want to be made well.
Hi, welcome to the crack of dawn. It's Dawn Lombardi. I'm starting the painting. It's going to be the clips with some water. Love it.
He took me on the sets of Lost in Space, Batman.
Everybody has a story. What's yours? Until next time.
Follow us on Instagram at nutmeg.tv.